recently, till now it was mainly Nityananda was restricted mainly to the boys and the male devotees. But I think couple of years back we brought it to Matajis as well, because woman is the foundation of the house. So we wanted to extend this forum to Matajis as well, and we're calling that as Janwa Devi Sabha and Nityanand Sabha. So that's how it is. And uh, so we do regular meetings and the regular training sessions and programs on matchmaking, on women, male, female psychology, and the career roadmap, and the investments, and also in all this, how to remain focused on preaching and the mission of Srila Prabhupada. So that's the broad
Wonderful.
objective of this forum, Prabhuji, and I think it's a very big forum, and slowly devotees will join in. Uh, and we really look forward for your wonderful, wonderful wisdom and association. And I would like to briefly introduce. It's a great honor to have you. Uh, so, Prabhuji, let me tell you how this all came. All devotees also, like, no, we recently in our camp, in the annual Nityananda Seva camp, we had Krishna Chand Prabhu who came over, and he gave a session. And there was a very, very common kind of question which some devotees had, especially those who come in youth, and then they also start their career, get married, and all those things, that how much is too much, when it comes to the material growth, because devotees do have aspiration to grow in certain areas, but then there is always something which kind of holds them back. There has been, I mean, there is definitely, that missionary spirit which we don't want it to go down any which ways. But then whether all this can go together, how do we dovetail our aspirations to grow with the spiritual objectives of life, the sacred principles of our life. So this was a very common theme which was cutting across, and I requested Krishna Prabhu address that. And when I asked him that who we would want more deeper sessions on these areas, so he gave your name. He told that he gave the name of his dear Satcitananda Prabhu, that he is the best person who has really balanced. And let me introduce him by telling he is a devotee who brought His Holiness Bhakti Rasamrit Swami Maharaj to Krishna consciousness. So in itself, it's a very big introduction, that speaks about his, the purity and, the amazing contribution to Srila Prabhupada's mission, that he got such a great devotee, to our movement. And he is a very senior disciple of His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj. His LinkedIn profile you all should visit and try to see what all he is doing. So he's currently serving as senior advisor and CFO large, well-known financial firm in Singapore. And he is responsible for managing finances for various CSP funds, due diligence for potential companies. I'm from a MBA management background. I know finance is such a tough profile to be in and still continue. Proji, hats off to you. I mean, for doing this amazing, no, professionally doing so amazing. So he is involved in due diligence of potential companies, legal regulatory matters, and the mergers acquisition space. And he also guides the organizations in their key investment decisions, and also the HNIs, kind of, those kind of profiles as well. And he's apart from it, from his, I mean, we have to very briefly, I think you all should go through his LinkedIn profile to absorb what all he is doing. He, along with that, he is also a trustee and member of various initiatives, which are, some of the pioneering initiatives of ISKCON Chowpatty, which is one of the most, versatile temple, I should say, of ISKCON. And like Annamrit Foundation, he is a trustee for that. Bhaktivedanta Hospital, Govardhan Eco Village, he is one of the trustee, and he has driven that initiative. All of us have been to Vada. If some of you have not been, please do visit. You will kind of know experience Vrindavan, very close to Mumbai. and he is also the temple trustee and part of the leadership council of Shri Shri Radha Gopinath Temple, which is ISKCON Chowpatty. So, uh, this is the best. We thought to all the devotees we can get your wonderful association and your life speaks it all. No, there's no theory in this, so we know that what is going to flow in next 1.5 is hour is going to be purely pearls of wisdom. We would want you to spare some time for question answers, Prabhuji, because I'm sure a lot of devotees will have a lot of questions. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, and we are really very fortunate to have you with us, and we look forward for many, many more no moments of association with you for this forum specifically. So with this, I will hand it over to His Grace Sachidanand Prabhu to take it over. Abhishek Prabhu, if you can spotlight Prabhuji, and then no, we can kind of take it. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. We'll like to loudly chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, all of us, to welcome you for this session. Hare Krishna, Krishna
Hare Krishna,
Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Hare,
Hare Rama,
Hare Ram,
Rama
Hare
Rama,
Ram,
Hare.
Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Om Agyantimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimade Bhakti Vedant Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyata Shidere Tarine. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिव सदी गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So thank you very much, Prabhuji, for inviting me. And I think it's all, Krishna Chandra Prabhu's, I would say, blessings and guidance. We obviously have been working very closely on multiple initiatives related to the temple and have got very, very close association, because he's also a trustee on many trusts and I'm also a trustee. But he's been very kind and loving to all of us. And for us, he's a, you know, phenomenal example. Every time I tell him that, Prabhuji, if we are able to emulate you even a little bit, it is the success of our lives. Because what he has done for the movement of Radhanath Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada, I think very few people can even attempt to do that. And thank you, all of you all, for inviting. So there may be some time constraints. So if there are more question answers, I have no problem, maybe 1 or 2 weeks later, if we have to do specific question answers, which are there. But I wanted to focus on some of the practical aspects which would be there in terms of, for young people who are getting married. For us also, I think Bhakti Rasamrit Maharaj, myself, and there are 5 more devotees. I think you know Anand Vrindavan Prabhu. There is Yudhishthir Prabhu who runs the BTG. There is Sri Gaurang Prabhu, uh, who's from IIT Mumbai, and then he did our management together. So all of them were my batchmates, and we were so lucky that at that time there were very few programs. I'm talking about mid 80s. Radha Gopinath temple was very rudimentary at that stage, probably non-existing. And Ras Bihari temple was the only one where we could visit. And what I would do is, during that time, I used to invite basically Rasraj Prabhu. So at that time, Rasraj Prabhu was one of the phenomenal preachers. He has got a fantastic background. He's a PhD from US, MIT. He has taught over there. And very scientifically, I think he was one person who could explain a lot of philosophy. And that is how some devotees whose name I mentioned got attracted and they started reading and they started associating, and we all used to go together because I was also a new devotee. It is not that I was really preaching to any of them. So I don't take any credit for all the devotees. I became just an instrument to get these devotees together. And then it was, people took seriously and then they are on their path now. So 5 of our batchmates are currently initiated, all of them doing very well. Bhakti Rasamrit Maharaj obviously is a very, very close friend. We seek guidance from him all the time. And just yesterday, I had a
But I
long
had
call
one
with
doubt,
him.
and the doubt
Yeah,
is that today I see that
sorry. Okay. So let me just, get to the subject. So in India, we have to understand when we talk about marriage, it is not only a marriage between two people. Actually, it is marriage which is between families. Because in India, we still have the concept of, joint families where parents, sometimes uncle, auntie, sisters, brothers all live together. Though it is now breaking down, but still the concept is still there of an extended family. So when we get married, we are not only talking about, let's say your spouse, we are also talking about in-laws who come along, sisters, brothers, uncles, aunts. And we frequently find that though your spouse may be very much interested in Krishna consciousness, which may be the reason why you are getting married, maybe the other people are not so interested. Sometimes parents are not interested, or sisters, or brothers, or uncle. And this is very common across. We don't expect everybody to be Krishna conscious. We can introduce them, we can do our best to see if they are able to attend programs and take to Krishna consciousness, but we cannot force. I've seen over a period of time that in extended families, there are many people who are not interested. So we have to be kind to them. We cannot be ignoring them because they are part of the family, but they are on their own journey. So that broad-mindedness is very, very important. But we have to understand that there is a lot more responsibility which comes in India when we get married because of the extended family. And if you see in Srimad Bhagavatam also, when they mention that when you accept a spouse, a lot more things come along with that. There is griha, which is, you need a house, you need money, then you have children, then you have vehicle, then you have all sorts of facilities which need to come along. So it is not just a simple thing. You have to basically sort of prepare for it. And we have many examples in our movement which are mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam, where we had Raja Rishis who were basically married. And you will see that 99.99% people actually get married. There are very few people who accept to brahmacharya or sannyas later on in their lives, but most of the people actually get married. And that is how the society functions. That is how the society has been made. So one of the examples which comes to my mind, which I was always very intrigued, which is more recent, while we had Raja Rishis who were there in Bhagavatam, is Bhakti Vinod Thakur. So Bhakti Vinod Thakur was such a esteemed legal counsel that the British government had a railway line right up to his house, and to make his actually time more efficient, because he was so efficient in time, we cannot even imagine. He has written almost 100 books. Amongst them, the one which I have read is the Krishna, no, Harinam Chintamani. It's such an amazing book, such an amazing book. He had 13 children, and the eighth child was Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj. So his efficiency in terms of utilization of the time in the mornings or late nights, he used to get up, translate books, write, and then he used to go for work, come at a particular time, take care of his family, and still manage all that. We cannot even imagine in today's scenario how he did it, writing 100 books. But there are examples like this, and it clearly shows how well, in our legacy, people have balanced their time. It is not that, we don't have a legacy, and we will also be able to manage that. It's not that we will not be able to sort of manage that. The most important thing I think we have to remember, especially for boys and girls who have accepted Krishna consciousness, and they have understood the philosophy. So it's very hard. Once you understand the philosophy, you basically start understanding, difference between material, spiritual, so many other things. And obviously, there is slowly some loss of taste which is there, which you have for the external scenario or the material world. If you are able to get a spouse, and I think it's very important that if you are able to get a spouse within the community, it becomes much easier to progress on this path of Krishna consciousness and at the same time balancing your material needs. But if your spouse is not Krishna conscious, I think it is tough. It's not easy. We have many examples in our movement, even today, where one of the spouses was not, and later on she turned Krishna conscious or he turned Krishna conscious. But for that, you need a lot of, I would say, patience, time, effort, energy, which is needed. So, as long as Krishna is in the center of our activities, and that is extremely, extremely important, why Krishna needs to be the center of our activities, because that focus is very important. Even from the material point of view, while you're pursuing your job, your occupation, you have to understand there is no taste in that, fundamentally, in your job or occupation. The only thing which can keep you going with ambition in these matters is basically that you know what's your ultimate goal. And if you have to really do something, because you have to support yourself, you have to take care of your body, you have to take care of other things which are there in the family, you have to really work hard. And in today's scenario, I do see children working far harder than what we had seen during our times in, let's say, 80s and 90s. The world has completely changed. And the profession from which I come, finance, I think anybody working less than 14 hours, I think, is considered to be, that maybe he doesn't have a proper job. That's how the scenario has actually changed now. And if your spouse is there, she understands, the pressures which are there, it becomes easy to manage. Otherwise, it's not that, it's not possible, but it is little difficult, more difficult than what it would be. So keep Krishna in the center, because it is not that we are trying to convert everybody into a brahmachari. Grasta life is a very common life. As I said, 99.99 people will finally become grastas. And Griye Thako, Vane Thako, Sada Hari Bolo Thake. So it doesn't matter whether you are at home, whether you are in some profession, as long as your focus is there on your ultimate goal, you will be able to manage. There will be ups and downs which are going to come in life, but you will still be able to manage as long as you have the goal in life. Today, we have such phenomenal teachers, mentors, guides who are there in Krishna consciousness in temples across, that if there are some problems which are there, you can obviously discuss not only material, but also, I would say, spiritual, counseling, guidance, marriage, issues in married life, all sorts of consulting is there today available from devotees who are very experienced and who have seen both sides of the story. And that really helps. And always seek guidance wherever you feel that, there is some difficulty you're facing. Do seek guidance. I'm talking about both Matajis and Prabhujis, because I do have people who also come to me and they are married for, they could be married for 5 years, they could be married for 15 years. And somehow or the other, there seem to be some issues, some problems, and finally things get resolved. But yes, there is stress because of various reasons. And I'll go through, I have a small presentation which I prepared, which will, focus on these particular matters. So keep Krishna in the center. And if both husband and wife are aligned in that, it's very, very important. So time management becomes extremely important, because we have far more activities to take care compared to, let's say, a materialist who's there, who just gets up in the morning. For him, it's like I would say, like a cycle of time where it's work, sleep, food. But for us, we want to devote enough time for spiritual activities, for chanting, for reading, for attending satsang programs, for seva. And hence, time management becomes so, so critical for us, which is where I find the most, I think, important thing As long as you keep focus on Lord Krishna and manage your time, the Lord within your heart will definitely guide you through this journey. That I'm very, very confident. I've seen it in multiple cases, but we have to be sincere. We have to be, determined to be on the path. So with that as a background, I just wanted to, Prabhuji, you know, show a brief presentation, which is, to some extent maybe a little bit technical or maybe a little more details, and I can share this with you later if somebody wants to go through that. Are you able to see this, Prabhuji? Hare Krishna?
Not yet, Prabhuji.
Acha, not yet. Okay, 1 second. What about now?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's coming.
Yes, visible.
It's visible, right? You are able to see that.
Yes, yes,
Okay,
Prabhuji.
okay. So just, more from the, uh, just giving you a dimension of what we are talking about here when we talk about balancing our lives. So in material life, fundamentally, work, finances, health, daily responsibilities is what constitutes really material life. And you cannot compromise on any of these because work is important. Financial, I would say stability is extremely important. And I've seen many cases where due to financial instability, there is stress between the families, which is there. At the same time, you have to take care of your health. Because as Keshav Swami says that, taking care of your health is difficult, but, if you get sick, it's much more difficult to manage that. So some form of, whatever exercise to see that your health is maintained in a reasonable condition, because it's not only for your material work, but also to execute your seva, you need to have proper health. So all your daily responsibilities which are connected to your health, wealth, finances is very, very important. What does spiritual life really comprise of? We are interested in chanting. We have, let's say, people who are initiated have taken a vow to chant a certain number of rounds, 16 rounds. So we need to set aside time for that. We are interested in listening to lectures because that gives us, you know, that energy to carry on. We are also interested in seva because a lot of our young devotees are doing so much of phenomenal seva, which could be temple related, which could be some other mission related seva which is there. So all these things become very important from the spiritual point of view. And what we have to do is we have to somehow or the other harmonize these two things, which is our material responsibilities and our spiritual goals which are there. Can you just give me 1 second? I think there is an urgent call. And then there are spiritual responsibilities which are there. So important thing is to harmonize the two. How to balance the two is really critical. So what is really important for both the partners? I think okay. So basically, there needs to be an open communication between the partners. It's extremely important because, even if you go to a counselor, these are the things which are talked about. And it's not going to be very different whether you are in Krishna consciousness or you are not in Krishna consciousness. You have to discuss expectation, habits which are there. If one person is, trying to conserve cash and the other person is trying to really spend, it becomes difficult to then meet your financial or spiritual goals which are there. Discuss your spiritual goals very oftenly. So for me, I've been very lucky when we were in college, you know, Anasuya Mataji, who was actually married to me, Maharaj had fixed our marriage. So we were there in somebody's house and Maharaj said, you need to get married. And, this is what I'm suggesting. And it just happened. So, everybody may not be so lucky. My wife is a doctor. I'm a, accountant by profession. And I can only tell you that while we can talk about all our successes, a lot of the contribution is made by our spouses, especially Mataji's, because their responsibility extends far beyond what Prabhuji's responsibilities are. So, big role is played by Mataji's, and not only, your spouse, but your mother and your sisters and others who play a very, very key role. So, I would want to also give them a lot of credit because without their help, it would have been impossible to balance what we have been trying to do. So, if it is possible, I think it's not very easy. You have to set your boundaries, which is, your work time, which is there, your temple seva time, which is there, personal family time, which is there to avoid burnout. Because sometimes I think at the cost of our health, I've seen many devotees maybe stretch themselves too much and then there is a breakdown in health because what is expected from, let's say, a brahmachari or a single person, a married person may not be able to do the same amount of seva because he has other responsibilities which are there. So you have to balance between the two. Also, you have to understand that when you get married, there are other things which may also clash with, maybe your yatra, maybe your programs which are there, and you have to balance and see that, what has to be sacrificed at what stage. So their intelligence has to be used. It cannot be that sometimes family functions are completely compromised to basically go to the temple. So you have to use your intelligence, you have to use your discrimination to balance the two. Shared values are very, very important. As I said, that is Lord Krishna the center of your activities. If we make Lord Krishna the center of our activities, which means that whatever we are doing materially, also we know that we are doing it for a certain purpose, I think it becomes much, much easier for both parties to really support each other's growth. Mutual support, extremely important. Uh, it's not uncommon that when you get married and assuming both people are in Krishna consciousness, one will definitely be more advanced, the other may not be advanced. I don't think at any point of time I've seen that both partners are, equally advanced or not advanced. But if one is not so advanced, we have to actually go out of the way. We have to motivate, we have to encourage. We cannot be looking down on our spouse to see that, he is not as advanced as I am. That I think is absolutely not a good scenario at all. And when you're starting initially, financial goals are very important because as I said, it's a time where inflation is very high. So whatever you are earning, it's very important that you save and invest some portion of it. Because if you just try to manage in future years from your salary, it may not be very much possible, but it is important that you invest. And today there are enough opportunities which are available for investment, especially related to, I would say, safe investments, non-speculative investments. You should not be doing, what youth are today hooked onto, which is the futures and options. You should not be speculating, in currencies, cryptos, and other stuff which is there. There are very good methods and safe methods for investment which are available, but do invest a certain portion from the time you start your journey into, I would say, simple things like mutual funds, which are easy to understand. You don't have to worry, somebody else is taking care of your funds. This will help you to plan your financial future, I would say, much earlier. Okay, so if you were thinking that, I want to retire by 40, or I want to actually devote more time by 40, 45. One of the only ways you can do that is basically to do a proper financial planning. And as you earn more, keep saving more rather than spending too much. I'm not saying that you compromise on your basic standard of living, but do invest more and more. It gives you that financial freedom at a point of time where you can take the decision that I want to do something, which is more meaningful to me. So these are things which I've seen because when I meet, couples who are there, I find generally the stresses which are there are actually in three key areas. One is the financial stress. Okay. You could lose your job, uh, the salary may not be so good, company may not be going through a good stage. Two people are working in the house, one may lose the job. So many things can happen, and hence it's very important that openly, I think the partners discuss about the money matters which are there. Okay. As far as possible, once enough trust is there, and I think trust is, the foundation of any relationship, especially in married life. It is always good to have transparency and have a joint bank account so that you're working as a team. It's not that, you are not sort of trusting your other partner. Where there is constraint which is there in terms of finance, I think it's always good to budget because there may be certain things which may be very, very important, which could be there, which you have to take care, and you may not be able to initially save so much. Please take care of those urgent things which are there, and you can postpone, some plan for investment later on. Don't do it at the cost of your current, I would say, basic minimum comfort which could be there. So budgeting is extremely important. So financial stress is one of the reasons I've seen where it leads to very, very stressful relationships uh, amongst the spouses which are there, and also, with the other family members, because some of the other, then the family members don't like the way people are being treated. And so avoid that and try to, do as much saving as possible, taking care of your basic requirements. Children related stress is the other one which is there. Because once you have children, I think there are a lot of responsibilities which come along with, the child, because you have to take care of the child. You have, educational responsibilities, health responsibilities. So please see to it that uh, children are properly sort of educated, because this is a world where knowledge and education is the key. And luckily for us in India, there is an extended family always there to take care of the child. So even if you have a lot of pressure, generally I've seen that there is an extended family which is willing to step in for a certain number of years to take care. Health is the other one which I had touched upon before, is that whatever it is, you have to see that your health is properly maintained, because without proper health, and Prabhupada always said that, you know, please maintain your physical health. So, proper exercise, it could be yoga, it could be pranayam, whatever you can do for a period of time, and proper nutrition, not junk food. I think a lot of the generation is actually addicted to a lot of junk food, which is there, and reasonable rest. I know when you have to do so much, rest is always something which you compromise on, and that leads to actually breakdown in health. So some adequate rest is needed to see that, how you can recoup back and be back in action, both for material and spiritual goals which you have set for yourself. Emotional stress. So it's not only physical health, but emotional health is also so very important. And some of the things, like financial stress or extended family stress can lead to a lot of emotional turmoil. So at this point of time, the spouses have to really come together and balance this out. And there is absolutely no harm if people find that, they need some professional help outside. There is absolutely no problem actually going and consulting somebody if you find that maybe within uh, the temple we are not able to get people who are able to, give you a holistic view, because sometimes A lot of our devotees look at things only from the spiritual point of view, but there are, a lot of material things involved when we talk about a professional health. So quality time together, I think this is just a few tips which is there. Schedule regular time together. I think it's very, very important whether you're going to the temple or you're going for some seva or you're going for some other activity. It should not be that both people are working and there's a very little time which you're able to spare for yourself. That should not be the case that we are able to. I'm also a culprit in that because many times my family also complains that I'm not able to spend enough quality time because some of the time which is available also goes in a lot of temple related activities because of the projects which are being undertaken currently. If you're able to practice spiritual activities as a couple, I think it's a phenomenal thing because that gives a lot of support to each other. Discuss and revisit your goals as often as possible, financial goal, children goal, whatever is there. And do actually, I would say, offer praise where it is due. Because technically, or many times I've seen that, our spouse is the last person we actually think of, even if they have done something phenomenal, we are not able to really appreciate them. We can appreciate everybody else outside, but we are not able to appreciate our spouse. So please recognize, appreciate, small wins are very important. It keeps, both partners extremely motivated. So this is a little more detailed, which are, success factors, which I say in marriage, which is more balancing. So love and commitment is extremely important. It's a long commitment. So two people come together, maybe due to some reason, but it's only commitment which actually keeps them together. Because if you're not committed to each other, it becomes very, very difficult to carry on for a long period of time. So you have to prioritize uh, things which are important for marriage and things which are important for keeping the two of you all together. Communication, open communication, honest communication, in case there are some, stresses, worries which are there, please talk about to your spouse because they would be able to, understand what you're actually going through. Don't try to hold it back because that then creates, I would say, an emotional turmoil within you. Humility, patience, forgiveness. I think whoever it is, whoever has been in marriage, you will have certain things where somebody is, faulting in something. There are imperfections. We are not born perfect. There are imperfections which are there. Please forgive those mistakes because look at the long-term goal and move forward in the relationship. Time investment, as I said, quality time spending is extremely important. It actually improves the bonding which is there. Trust and honesty, most important. I think without trust, no relationship works. It's really the foundation of any marriage. Mutual respect, again, extremely important. So I have my parents who are now married. My father is 90, my mother is 86. They both stay with me. And they have been now married for about 67 years. And, you know, I think in some program, devotees asked him, they are both initiated. Because of them, actually, we got introduced to Krishna consciousness. So they are, people ask them that, what is the reason for basically, success? 67 years is something which is, quite unheard of in today's scenario. So my father basically said that, you know, we all came from very humble backgrounds. I think he also came from very humble background. He basically migrated from small place in UP to Mumbai, had to go through some difficult times, but he said he never compared himself, or my mother never compared herself with somebody else who was doing much better. So no, don't compare because there will always be somebody who's better than you. There will always be somebody who's worse than you. No use comparing because everybody is on his own journey. So please go on with your journey the way it is planned. So no comparison. I would say, total trust which was there in terms of whatever each of the persons is doing is for the benefit of the family and for each other's benefit, and mutual respect, because they are so diagrammatically opposite. My father is extremely well educated, my mother is not so educated, but there was immense amount of mutual respect for each other because my mother can do things which my father cannot do. She has taken care of my grandmother and she has taken care of the extended family in a manner which nobody can do. So I'm just saying that what I see over here, because we have been living with them now for so many years, that how they have adjusted themselves in spite of being two different individuals completely. They understand and they are, flexible enough to accommodate each other, which is very, very important in this case. Protection and care, I think, extremely important. That especially for the husband, I think the wife always looks upon the husband as somebody who's going to be taking care, protecting her in case there is any difficulty. So that I think is extremely important. And please take care. I think you should be caring as much as possible. We are very caring, let's say, to the outside world. And in the congregation also, I've seen, we are very caring, but when it comes to our own family or spouse, I think we forget about this. Emotional connection, sense of humor, yes, I think humor is important. You can't be serious all the time. Because it leads to, again, emotion extremely important. And do support, I think, both people are working or each person supports the other in their journey together. That I think is very, very important. There will be tough times, there will be good times. That's how the cycle of the material world works. So, in summary, if you see, balancing material and spiritual requires love, trust, and understanding. Both parties need to work together. Clear communication, I would say over communication in most of the cases. Shared values, very important if you're able to, have spouse who has shared values along with you. Mutual support. And when you're facing stresses which are there, which primarily I've seen are financial, children, health related, it's always good to be open, discuss it openly, have a proper dialogue. Don't think twice in case you feel that you need to take external help, because there is absolutely no problem taking external help. It is the need of the hour today, the way things are in the material world. So this is, a brief I had prepared, and I would want that, if we can have some question answers which are there, which could be more practical, and I can give you based on my experience. I'm married for now 37 years. My son is also married now. My daughter is going to get married this year. So both my children have been blessed by Maharaj. Both are both are not initiated, but they follow all the regulative principles which are there. And my son has done his chartered accountancy. He's done his MBA. My daughter has done her medicine, and then she has done her MBA. So it's a very different path she has taken. But obviously, I think both of them are highly, highly inspired by our devotees and especially Maharaj. So whenever Maharaj is in Bombay, I think 1 day or 2 days in a year, he does come home and we spend a lot of time. That keeps all of us going. He is really the inspiration behind all of us today. We have got a lot of love and I would say blessings from Maharaj and so many other devotees who are there. So frankly, to summarize in a more practical manner, Prabhuji, it's not easy. Okay, what we are embarking on, especially for people who are employed, and the concern is always there that once you come into spiritual life, my ambitions actually come down. That should not be the case, because there is no reason for your ambitions to come down. And if you are a warrior, as Radhanath Maharaj says, you have to be the best warrior. Krishna wanted you to be the best. If you're, working somewhere, you need to actually be the best over there, because that sets an example sometimes for others, that how the person is able to manage both material and spiritual. So I'm saying that it's not easy, nothing is easy, but it is still possible as long as you keep Krishna in the center, be with devotees, association extremely important. And while you pursue your material goal, in terms of, I would say, primarily it is work, because I think as devotees or as aspiring devotees, a lot of us are, not, we are not wasting too much of time in sort of going out to restaurants or movies or whatever. So there is an additional time which is available on us. Also, one practical aspect I would recommend is spend as less time as possible on social media, unless it's your profession. If somebody is into marketing, obviously they need to do a lot of social media, but otherwise, like I have never, so there may be some Instagram which somebody would have started, but other than WhatsApp, which I use for business communication and some personal thing, I don't use any other social media, because I found it is complete waste of time. And even my LinkedIn profile, which you see, well, got updated by one of my, maybe office associate, because I never even bothered to update that. So maybe it's a few years I've touched my LinkedIn profile. So spend as less time as possible, because time is actually very, very important for us. Very, very important for us. And that's one of the key things where we will be able to balance multiple, I would say, goals which we have set for ourselves. So I see somebody has raised his hand. Yes, Mayank Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for a
Dandavad
wonderful
Prabhuji.
session. So, Prabhuji, sorry for the disturbance. I'm in hospital right now.
No, no,
So,
no problem.
Prabhu, my question is, Prabhuji, like it's like easy to go either side, like in pendulum. It happens with me all the time. Like I have been in touch with devotees since 2010, Prabhuji, going up and down. Not initiated yet, but just going up and down. uh, when I come to devotee association, nobody will say that this guy will be like, at home. I mean, people at home don't believe how I behave in temple, and people at temple can't believe how I behave at home. And the reason is like, I'm kind of in a remote place from this one point of view. So like, I am all alone kind of thing. I recently got twin daughters. They just turned 1 year. So Prabhuji, like question is like how to balance out. Right now my situation is that like, and I take it sometimes like kids are there, and but how far it is okay and how to balance out.
I don't know your exact scenario, but I understand that your work being a doctor takes a lot more time, and
No,
maybe
Prabhu,
you.
I'm not a doctor actually. I came with a relative to
Oh,
the
okay,
hospital. Yeah, I'm
okay.
I'm into IT. Uh, yes,
You're
Prabhuji.
into IT. Okay, okay, okay. And do you have any association close by, or you don't have any association?
Physical almost zero Prabhuji. Time to time I go to
Okay, almost
Pune.
zero. Okay,
So yeah, like um
understand.
once in, yeah, one day in a 1 or 2 month I go to Pune, I get some association, come back. So that's all I have right now.
Correct, correct, correct. No, no, understand your scenario. As I said, people will be in different sort of scenarios. What about your spouse? Is she also a devotee, or?
uh, so very favorable project. We have been married for
Okay,
5 6 years. But she doesn't chant, and I mean, like
that's fine.
eh, sometimes, I mean, she's not anti, kind of supportive, but
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
not a full-time devotee. I mean, she doesn't chat anyway.
No, no, understand, understand. So that could also be a scenario. As I said, obviously the best scenario is where both partners are in Krishna consciousness, but there is absolutely no harm as long as your spouse is able to, accommodate you and you are able to accommodate. You cannot force yourself in terms of her accepting because she will have her own journey. But your example, which is there, is really very, very important uh, for her because while you are doing your job, you are also taking care of your spiritual activities. I'm saying that you may not have physical association, but nobody stops you from, listening to a Bhagavatam class or listening to some other lecture at regular intervals, reading, chanting, obviously, as I understand you are doing. So do spare some time. I'm sure keep praying to Krishna to, help you in this sort of a scenario because I'm sure sooner or later Krishna will take care. He will see your sincerity and see to it that you are accommodated, in a scenario which helps you balance out this thing much better. So, the scenario in which you are, where you are in your profession as well as you are pursuing Krishna consciousness, is a very common thing, which is what we need to balance out. And time becomes extremely important. Now you have two young daughters who are there, so I think there will be a lot more time which will go to bring them up. And depending on the scenario at that point of time, you have to actually do much more time planning compared to what you were doing before. Some or the other, we all struggle sometimes to complete our rounds, because of so many other, I would say, conflicting requirements which could be there. But be sincere, uh, keep praying to Lord, and I'm sure He will guide you within the heart. It's not
Yeah,
uncommon scenario which you are in, Prabhu.
please bless us, Prabhuji. Your blessings go a long way.
No, no, absolutely. I definitely pray for you, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Prabhuji, can we ask like some more questions?
Please, please, please.
Yeah.
Though I had some other temple meeting, I've just sent them a message that, I will join maybe about 10 minutes late.
Mhm.
But if there are more questions, I have no problem, taking it on later on because this temple meeting just got fixed some time back. It's some urgent finance meeting. So, but we can go on with one or two questions, not a problem.
Yeah, just one question I think Deepak Prabhu has mentioned in the chat box. It's about like if wife is not Krishna. You can.
Nityanand Charan Prabhu has raised his hand. Yes. Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandava Prabhu.
Prabhuji, first let me tell me about myself. I'm actually searching for marriage since almost 2 to 3 years, and currently I'm pursuing PhD in IIT. So my question is, Prabhuji, actually, while I'm searching and while I'm discussing, especially in the devotee community, uh, what I found is mostly the girls are, not having a mindset of marriage. They are only marrying because of the authorities are telling. When we discuss about these aspects like emotional needs or material needs and all these aspects, when I try to discuss, so their response is they only want to, they only think in the spiritual side. They don't think all these things, and they say that this is material and this is not required and all. So how to deal in this situation?
Yeah, I've also seen that. I think in multiple cases, and that becomes a very difficult thing because if, uh, you know, let's say sooner or later, you finish your PhD and you will take up a job, and if you have extended family which is there, which also needs to be taken care of, and frankly, if Mataji is, 24/7 actually running to the temple, it sometimes becomes very, very difficult because it becomes a stress in marriage. And it is not very uncommon what we have seen. That is why I said right in the beginning that, one of the partners is very advanced. You are definitely very advanced. You are already initiated. It's very important that the other partner is able to understand. And I would suggest that before you get into marriage, these are things which have to be sort of discussed and thrashed out. Because if you find that somebody is not able to accommodate and adjust, it becomes extremely difficult, and that becomes a reason for stress, which I've seen is happening in many marriages today, where one partner becomes, extremely advanced and the other partner is looked down upon. This is exactly what I think I'm seeing, that they are only interested in, let's say, uh, maybe temple service. Then they may not be interested in getting married at all. And if you want to get married, maybe look at somebody who's even outside of maybe then the temple, but who's more accommodative, who's more understanding. And I have seen there are many, many cases I've seen even in Radha Gopinath temple where there are spouses who are outside, but they are extremely accommodated, understanding, and at some point, one of them who was not Krishna consciousness has also become Krishna consciousness because of the love, care, accommodation which is there. See, what I can tell you, which I have seen, is that if your spouse is not so advanced, okay, that is one scenario. Or if the spouse knows about your activities but actually is not pursuing, we cannot be looking down upon them, because that is the worst thing we can do in a relationship, is to look down upon our spouse. Because then we are, rather than being humble and trying to support and trying to encourage, what are we doing actually outside world? We are trying to preach to people who have no idea about Krishna consciousness. That's what we are trying to do. And within our own homes, where somebody is, let's say, not as advanced as what we think we are, frankly, the moment we think we are advanced, actually, we are fallen. Because somebody who is advanced will be thinking more humbly. So as long as a person or your spouse, would be spouse, has that accommodating nature, has the understanding which is there, I'm sure it's a question of time before the other party also takes care. Because you are not doing anything which is there to harm your spouse. You're basically trying to work in the best interest of the family, best interest of your spouse. So do treat somebody who's not as advanced as you with love, care. They need more of that actually, which is what I think we have learned, throughout our entire journey, is that always, we all have friends in business circles, in offices, who who are actually seeped in material life. But as long as you are not falling into the same trap and you are not, associating with them, you are basically maintaining your own values and doing things in a right way. People do get attracted by that, because in today's scenario, people are just not able to maintain their values, just not able to maintain their values. So that itself, your life itself becomes an example, really, for people who are outside. They may say anything on your face, but behind your back, people appreciate that, because in this world, if you're not doing, all this nonsensical thing which is going on, people do appreciate that as long as you stick to the values. I'll just give you an example. Actually, my daughter has just passed out from IIM Ahmedabad, Indian Institute of Management Ahmedabad. And whether it is IIT, whether it is, management colleges, and these are very elite management colleges, practically 99% of the people who are there are, come Friday, I think it's just party time. Drinking, smoking, there's no time limit, eating junk. But I don't think even at any point of time she even got a temptation. She would not even attend the parties, no matter how much, people would call. She would visit, congratulate somebody, and, if it is a birthday party, come back. But at the end of the course, I have seen that she has 30, 40 very close friends who have very clearly said that we actually respect what you have done. And we are we are your friends because of that today. And we will always want to be your friends because of that. Just that simple example actually helps out. So you stick to your principles, which are there, but don't look down upon anybody else. Because I just recently read Maharaj's saying that, if you have friends or relatives or somebody who's actually a meat eater or a gambler or whatever, we should not be thinking that we are superior to them. We should actually be taking a humble position that we are blessed that we have been introduced to this path and we have been given a sort of a goal which is there. So I can understand that it's a difficult thing, but I would say that if you're finding it very uncomfortable with the sort of Matajis you have been introduced to within the movement, maybe there are others who could be there even outside who could be accommodating. But understanding and accommodation is extremely important. Mutual respect is extremely important. Somebody may be coming from some background, but it doesn't mean that we have to look down upon somebody. That I think cannot be done at all. Whether it is your workspace, whether it is your family. And as I said, in married life, you have extended family, and you'll find 90% of the people may not be interested in Krishna consciousness, but doesn't mean that we have to look down upon them. The only way you can attract them is basically be humble and be as much accommodating as possible. Try to do whatever best you can do, introduce to them to Krishna consciousness.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
I think there is some, heavy noise. 1 minute. Huh? There's a Ganesh celebration going on. I just saw the music has gone up dramatically. So I can take one more question right now.
Yes, Prabhuji. There is one question in the chat box given by one devotee.
Okay. Can you read that?
Okay, fine. So he's almost similar question to the one which you answered. If wife is not Krishna conscious, if we discuss like openly from heart with her, then she basically tells everything to her mother with biasness and all. Their mother also guides her with biasness, and it leads to misunderstandings. She considers her parents as God. She don't want to read Krishna conscious books, chant. Her parents also do not believe in deities, so he is hesitant to share his heart with that Mataji. Always fearful it will lead to misunderstanding, friction. Basically, that devotee is asking for like the solution, how to solve this
Yeah, yeah.
problem.
Yeah. So I don't know the exact situation, but this is exactly, I think this is like I would say, very extreme case or dramatic case where it looks like, Mataji probably doesn't seem to be sort of understanding, and while Prabhuji is able to reveal his mind to her, it looks like she's probably taking it, maybe to her advantage and negatively. So we'll have to be intelligent enough to see what has to be communicated. Doesn't mean that, we stop our communication with her, but be intelligent enough. We obviously don't want anybody to take advantage of us and try to put us down. So you please carry on with, your activities which are there. Try to support her in whatever she is doing. And as I said, please don't look down upon her. Because a lot of things come from the past, a lot of things come because we are all on our individual journeys which are there. Try to, once in a while, if she's not wanting to chant or whatever, whenever there are some programs, major festivals which are there, try to get her to the temple. If it is possible, if she has some friends who can be, developed, who also understand her scenario without pushing too much, if that friendship can develop, could be outside also within the temple or some Matajis who could be there. That definitely helps in these scenarios I've seen, because association is very, very important. I think she probably doesn't have any association at all from the Krishna consciousness point of view. But I think you'll have to basically try and be, I would say, discriminating in terms of what has to be revealed, what is not to be revealed. And if you feel, and I'm not saying you hide something which is significant, but if somebody is taking advantage of some scenario, then I think you have to be a little careful about it. But don't look down upon her. You do whatever you're doing to the best of your abilities, and she should also feel that, there is nothing you're doing which is actually harming her in any way. We don't want that scenario at all.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you. So, like, do you want to take one more question, Prabhuji, or like it's
I think I'm already maybe
Okay.
5 minutes over time
okay?
from.
Fine.
So, but if there are more questions which are there, I have no problem a few weeks from now.
Mhm.
If there are specific questions which are there, uh, I can definitely have one more session for 30 minutes or 45 minutes. As long as you find this has been useful or, helpful to you, I'm not very sure because everybody looks at things in a very different perspective, but I would only feel that, as long as Krishna is in the center, circumstances can be very, very difficult for, certain people. It's not that everybody will have a smooth ride in life, but please actually keep playing to Krishna. Be as humble as possible, be as accommodating as possible to your spouse, to their families who are there, whether they are Krishna conscious or they are not. And most important, don't please look down upon anybody because we should be blessed and we should be humbled to acknowledge that we are privileged to get this benefit of Krishna consciousness which the other person has not been able to get. So, in that spirit, I would leave you to think about it. And I have no problem at all, Prabhuji's and Mataji's who are there, that if there are more questions, I am happy to, address in our next session.
Okay, yeah, sure, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for your one time for today's session. It was really wonderful, and as I can see that devotees are also expressing that through various things. So thank you very much. And yes, again, like some devotees are expressing some more questions. So surely, Prabhuji, like first thing I will let you know that if there is
Sure.
any other session, we can keep for the question answers as well.
Yes, absolutely. And just if you want the presentation, I will send it out to you in case somebody wants to,
Sure, sure.
have a look at it. I will just send it to you on WhatsApp so that if people want to go through in more detail. And I wish all of you all, who are bachelors, if they want to get married, to get a right partner, I pray to the Lord for that. And journey is hard, I know it's not easy, but it is all possible because we have got enough examples in front of us who have balanced everything. Thank you, everybody. Hare
Yeah.
Krishna.
Thank you very much, bro.
Thank you, devotees. So on the announcement group, we'll just share some links of the various WhatsApp groups we have under this Nityananda Sabha group. So devotees can join the group if they are not basically present in any of WhatsApp group. Okay, thank you. So we'll end the meeting over here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.